Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 86 of the In From Japan podcast, the podcast where we talk about the latest news on Japan-developed games and other things in relation to them, available on YouTube and in most places podcasts can be found. As always, I'm your host, Erroll Moss, and with me is my co-host, the phenomenon from Suriname, Jason Corder.
Hey, hey.
And we don't have any housekeeping this week, but so we're just going to get into the Japanese games we've been playing. I haven't been playing much. I've been mostly waiting for Tales of Arise.
Yes.
Because I don't want to pick up Neo the World's End with you. I don't want to pick up one action JRPG, then have to put it down, then pick up another. I'm going to get burnt out, man. If I do that.
I mean, they are very different gameplay-wise.
I know. I know, but I feel like myself, I don't trust myself with not getting burnt out doing that.
Huh. Oh, okay.
So I've been playing a little more Duel Links. I moved on to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal world, but Yuma's deck is not great right now. But, you know, he gets a good amount of experience points and has leveled up a bit, so that's good. Monster Hunter Stories 2 DLC. So I tried again. I tried fighting the Outer Frost Gammoth again, because that's the monster I really want the armor of. And it was me and this one online co-op person. She was a couple levels below me, but she was so much better. She knew exactly what she was doing. Weaknesses and like everything and all that. But she died first just because she didn't heal at the right time. Because when Outer Frost Gammoth gets mad, it does these attacks that do a ton of damage.
But, well, multiplayer...
But I haven't tried since. That's the other thing. The problem with multiplayer, if one of you dies, you're done.
Okay, so multiplayer in stories, is it easier to get into than with Monster Hunter proper?
What do you mean?
Like, I feel that it wouldn't be all that difficult having the battles be turn-based. You just have to be aware of type advantages and all that stuff.
Sure, but the monsters you fight, they don't have levels. Like, you don't know how... I mean, some are high rank, but, like, you don't always know how much damage each thing is going to do.
Oh, okay.
Or, like, how upgraded your armor should be.
Okay, so you're constantly on your toes as to how you're supposed to approach a battle.
Especially with newer, tougher monsters.
Okay, I see.
Like, I might just wait at this point for the single-player version of the quest to come... when the next round of DLC comes out.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because I've lost so many times. And the worst part is, that time, I feel like we were so close to beating it, too. It was just not great. And then I've been playing a little bit more of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. I finished the first dungeon, and it was the easiest dungeon I've ever been in. Not because of the dungeon itself, because the people that I was playing with, I think they all went through the dungeon before, and they were just like, go. We didn't say anything to each other. We just all did our rolls, and it was just the fastest, like, smoothest dungeon experience I've had.
Wait, isn't that normally how it goes? Like, for me, at least. Well,
for Shadowbringers, I think it's just I hadn't had that in a long time.
Okay, because with me catching up on dungeons and whatnot, I've always had a group of people who seem to have prior experience, so it always felt like I was speedrunning alongside of other people. So how far along are you in the story of Shadowbringers?
I'm on the second dungeon now. Like, I just got to the second dungeon most recently. Okay. Because I was doing a friend of mine, or I was doing the Palace of the Dead with some friends of mine.
I see.
And we didn't finish it quite yet, but we got close.
Okay, cool.
But otherwise, yeah, not really playing anything much on the Japanese side of things. I tried that Vampire Blood Hunt game, which is pretty cool. I been playing a little bit of Fortnite with the weird alien stuff that they have now. And and a little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean that's a healthy
a Red Dead Redemption Online.
Healthy mix of stuff to play.
Yeah. So you've been playing more Asura's Wrath, I take it?
Yeah. That's probably the only thing I played this week. Mostly because I'm gearing up for Tales of Arise, which drops tomorrow. When this publishes, it would be the same day. But yeah, that, and also because, life, work, I have no time for other stuff. So having a quick second to bust in a level or a chapter is pretty much all I can manage. And yeah, I'm still playing Asura's Wrath. It's pretty wild game. It's pretty. The music is amazing. It's a lot to take in visually. Gameplay wise, it's how do I don't want to say it's unfulfilling, because it's very cutscene heavy with quick time events, because I feel like they were pretty upfront with that being the experience.
Right.
So I can't complain about not having all that much interactivity in the game. It's a very different thing. I don't know how to properly explain it, but I don't put it in the same spectrum as other action games. I put it more on the spectrum as walking simulators or narrative-heavy games. That's how I view it. And while I love it and the whole sci-fi approach to Hinduism/Buddhism, the motivations of the characters are very nebulous. Like, they'll mention why they're doing something, but it's never given the proper context, and you're always wondering about, okay, but how does this fit with this, and why is this happening? It's more of the case of, I'm angry, therefore I will do something, or I am sad and therefore I will do something. It's never given good enough context, I feel. But then again, if you read any religious text, that's pretty much how it always goes. Like, you never get the full explanation as to why a god or the god does something or does not do something. So maybe it's pretty on the nose of how it goes in religion. So yeah, but yeah, I think I'm pretty close to finishing the game. I have like 3 chapters left, or chapters left. I'm on the last part of the game.
Right.
I don't know if I'm gonna be doing the DLC. Maybe.
You mean like the ending?
Well, they say the true ending is locked behind DLC, but
right.
The way the game is progressing now, I don't feel like that's gonna happen. But who knows? I might be surprised by the end of it. But I do want to see how Asura fights against evil Ryu and Akuma from Street Fighter.
Akuma, yeah. I remember watching those. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, and how Yasha's story gets fleshed out near the end of the game. So, yeah, I'll probably be doing more of that.
All right. Sounds good. I'm sure we'll both have plenty to say about Tales of Arise next week.
Yes.
So next up is the In From Japan J-List, recent video game related entertainment news. There's only one piece of news this time around. We got Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle heading to Netflix. This is also known as this is by Jenny Latta for Siliconera.
Mm-hmm.
Another Pokemon movie is headed to Netflix. This time, it's the most recent one in the series. Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle will show up on Netflix on October 8th, 2021. This film first appeared in Japan as Pokemon the movie Coco. Here's a trailer for Pokemon the movie Secrets of the Jungle to give you an idea of what to expect from its Netflix debut. Essentially, Ash and Pikachu meet Coco, a young man raised by the mystical Zarude in the forest. However, this won't be a peaceful meeting, as Team Rocket is about Oh, as Team Rocket is about, and there's an organization investigating the forest of Okoya where Koku and Zarud live. To go along with the Netflix debut, there will be a Shiny Celebi and Zarud code distribution events. There will be Shiny Celebi and Zarud code distribution events for people to get both characters in Pokemon Sword and Shield. The official site said those who signed up for the Pokemon Trainer Club emails will get Dada Zarud in an email on September 25th, 2021 via mystery gift. Details about the Celebi weren't revealed yet. This sort of distribution already happened for Zarud in Japan and Europe. So, yeah. I think probably the last Gen 8 Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. How are you looking towards this movie? Excited? Meh? Can't be bothered?
I do like... Well, I do like... In some ways, I do like how they're continuing the movies. This is like this movie canon is separate from the anime.
Is that true? I did not know that.
It's continuing from the Pokemon I Choose You and Pokemon The Power of Us.
Oh.
I don't know if they're all part of the same trilogy. I think they are. But yeah, but I do kind of miss... But I also kind of miss that, like, it's not connected to a series, because that means that, like, you don't get, like, familiar characters from the series in these movies. You don't get Go or Chloe in these new movies the way you used to get Misty and Brock.
But that
like in the movies.
Doesn't that kind of bog down the experience in terms of the movies being accessible, jumping on points? Like, if all you wanted was some big adventure with Ash and Pikachu, but you also have to be caught up on like 50 episodes.
I mean, you didn't have to be caught up necessarily, depending on how often Ash used his team besides Pikachu.
No, but I mean, with this not main characters, like the side characters appearing or not appearing, right. Like you don't want to have that being like something. That's held against a movie. You probably want it.
That's true.
Being a smooth 1 hour and 30 minutes or whatnot.
Yeah, it just sometimes it just feels like there's something missing, because Ash always now it's just in these movies is Ash always like meeting a couple of new characters and hanging out with them and then never seeing them again.
But I also feel like for us older fans, that's what we would like to see, like the continuity, but for newer fans it might not be that important.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't have like any like I'm not super excited for it, but I'm not excited for it. I'm just kind of like it exists. It's cool. It's going on Netflix. Good.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more excited for the one we talked about the other day, Pokemon Evolutions.
Is that the new series?
Yeah, that's the web.
Oh yeah,
I think it's web.
The web series, yes.
But yeah. So recommended content. We're moving on to recommended content now. Content from the past week listed out. Links in the description. We have The Legend of Zelda is the world's most tragic video game series by Phil Hornshaw for GameSpot. It's Okay to Struggle with Sprouts, Final Fantasy XIV Veterans by Mike Williams for Fanbyte. I went clubbing and saw a live performance in Final Fantasy XIV. It was dope as hell by... Guess who this is by, audience? I'll give you one guess. One of our past guests. Michael Higham for Fanbyte, because he would write a title like that.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
WandaVision stole its entire plot from Pokemon the Movie 3 by Eric Switzer for The Gamer. Quite an interesting article.
Leave it to gamers to find the weirdest, most obscure plot points available.
Well, because they're both about characters essentially creating their own reality.
Yeah, I know.
In a bubble.
Yeah.
And then Tales of Arise review, A Tale Worth Telling by Nadia Oxford for Rock, Paper, Shotgun. There are plenty of other reviews too. This is just the one I wanted to
I would
highlight specifically.
Also recommend Eric Van Allen's review
Right.
for Destructoid, because I know Eric is one of the biggest Tales fans, and he also gives proper context to whatever is included or not included in the game. So not to say that Nadia doesn't do good work, because this review is a very, very Nadia Oxford written review.
Right.
If you know her style.
I think, and if you want something, cause if you saw like that it's getting a lot of high ratings and you want something a little tougher, I would recommend Heidi Kemp's review for GameSpot.
There's also CGM's review, which gave it a 6 out of 10.
Wow, that's even less than the GameSpot one.
Yeah, I'm not entirely in agreement with all the points, but if you want as broad a range of voices on the game, there you go.
Yeah. Then we have Why Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX is so important. Not by me, it's by Gym Leader Ed on his YouTube channel.
I was about to say, is this your alias? Do you have a secret YouTube channel I did not know about?
It could be, but it's not.
Yeah.
No, Gym Leader Ed is a buddy of mine. He does a lot of good work on making videos about monster taming games. He was featured in my article on I don't know, was he in the Monster Hunter Stories 2 article? I think he was, but he was also in the Mon Game article as well.
Yeah. Either of those two.
Yeah. And then we have How Game Developers Pick Their Fonts by Lauren Morton for PC Gamer. And last but not least, we have The Quest to Save Marvel vs. Capcom 2 by Axel Bosso for Polygon. Bring it back.
Yeah. I mean, Phil Spencer, if you want to win this console war, all you have to do is greenlight backwards compatibility for Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Oh, yeah, it was on
all I'm saying.
Original Xbox, huh?
All I'm saying. Well, there was an HD port on Xbox 360, but because of licensing.
Wait, of 2?
Yeah, of 2.
Right, I think I might have had that.
But due to licensing, they had to remove it.
Because they had that, and then they had the Marvel vs. Capcom Origins, which was the X-Men versus Street Fighter, and the Marvel Heroes versus Street Fighter, or whatever.
Yes. I'll just say yes. I'm not certain, but I'll say yes.
But there are no Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I have 3 Ultimate. That one's still great.
Yeah,
but it's not 2. And then there's Infinite, and that happened.
Well,
it's not bad.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look great.
I haven't played the full game, so I can't really speak on the experience.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't have Game Pass. I'm too busy with other stuff. But yeah,
I'm just saying it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it might be fun to try. You might like it.
Yeah. Next up is the news rundown. So, and we have one piece of badish news this week, so I'll let our bearer of bad news and Shinigami take it away.
Yes, Bankai. First up, we have Nintendo says they won't be appearing at Tokyo Game Show 2021 online. This is by Daryl Harding for Crunchyroll News. With Tokyo Game Show 2021 online only a few weeks away, the actual contents of the online show, which is set to feature playable demos through the net and streams through all major streaming platforms, are still up in the air. But one thing is for certain, one of Japan's biggest companies, Nintendo, who makes the most popular console in Japan right now, won't be there. Nintendo mentioned in the tweet, you have to click on the article to see the tweet, that they will not be exhibiting at the event or showing off any game titles, only helping out some indie devs with showing off their games. While not explicitly stated, there are growing concerns that are mounting that the in-person aspects for influencers and press might not be going ahead, as similar events in the same area are being asked to either slim down or postpone due to COVID-19. Yeah, COVID is still a thing. The Delta variant is also a thing.
Also, Nintendo isn't even usually at Tokyo Game Show, I feel like.
I want to say they are.
Or at least they have a very small presence.
I want to say they are, but I don't usually remember what goes on at Tokyo Game Show.
Right.
I feel that's blasphemy considering the name of this podcast, but I digress. Yeah, it's also because, you know, having the year we've had, well, the 2 years we've had, development is very tricky. QA is even trickier.
Right.
So video game production has slowed down significantly, and they're probably holding their cards close to the chest and are probably gearing up for a direct either this fall, so that you're prepared for like Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and the Christmas season, holiday season. But besides that, yeah, they've pretty much shown their hand for now. So they don't want to overstay their welcome, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So in other news, next Final Fantasy XIV live letter set for September 18th will detail combat changes. This is by Carly Garcia for Silicon Era. Square Enix has announced that the 66th Final Fantasy XIV letter from the producer is scheduled to air on September 18th at 11 a.m. Japan Standard Time, which is September 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern. The Lodestone has confirmed that the presentation will include live interpretation from Japanese to English for international viewers. In addition to more information about the Sage and Reaper classes debuting in the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker expansion, the stream will likely highlight general combat changes and job adjustments across other classes. Other miscellaneous updates can also be expected during the stream. Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker expansion will mark the completion of the Zodiac... Oh, okay, it's just the stuff we said before. So, yeah.
Are you looking forward to it?
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
I mean, is there any class you'd want to see change combat-wise?
I mean, I mostly play as Dark Knight, so I'm good there.
Okay.
But I know there are classes that people want to be tweaked or improved a bit. And then I'm gonna do the other story before you get to the, because it's shorter. The Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy XV 2021 event will begin soon. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Silicon Era. Square Enix revealed the duration for the 2021 return of the Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy XV event. While the starting date was revealed through a letter from the producer live, players will now know how long they will have to obtain the exclusive collaboration rewards in-game. The event will begin on September 13th, 2021, and last until October 18th, 2021. As this is a seasonal event replay, no new items will appear during the event. However, those who missed out on the opportunity to obtain the Final Fantasy XIV Regalia mount will now have the chance to do so. Other Final Fantasy XIV collaboration items include cosmetic attire that will allow the player to dress like Noctis from Final Fantasy XV. A hairstyle will also be available to obtain through the event. The Final Fantasy XIV Regalia mount is currently the only 4-seater mount that can be obtained entirely for free. The mount also features distinct poses for each seat within the car. Like Final Fantasy XV, players can take to the skies in the Regalia as the mount is capable of flight. Well, most mounts, once you unlock flying, most mounts are capable of flight.
I think all of
if
them
not all.
are capable
if not
of
all,
flying.
Yeah. Sometimes it's very weird to see a flying polar bear.
I mean, weird things have happened.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Yoshi P reaffirms he's still working on both Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy XVI. This is by Kazuma Hashimoto for Silicon Era. In an interview with Famitsu director and producer Naoki Yoshida, Yoshi P sat down to discuss the development of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. In the interview, Yoshi P confirmed that he is still working hard on Final Fantasy XIV alongside the development of Final Fantasy XVI. While the interview went into depth about the creative decisions made for the Save the Queen Relic Weapon questline, it ended with Yoshi P reassuring readers that he is still deeply involved in both projects. Shout out to Famitsu. Was there any doubt? Like, who had questions? What was it not clear?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess.
People were just like, where is Final Fantasy 16? Why haven't we heard more about it?
Oh, because, game development is so easy, especially in a pandemic.
Yeah. Seriously. I don't know, man. I'm just glad after today's PlayStation thing, I didn't really see anybody be like, but where was Final Fantasy 16? I didn't see anybody be like that. Everybody was like, oh, well, that wasn't there. Okay, whatever. Moving on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are some people that were like that, but in the usual circles, I didn't see it as much as I thought I would.
Well, considering God of War, Wolverine, Spider-Man 2,
Spider-Man,
I think people were
Forspoken,
a bit
Ghostwire,
too preoccupied. Yeah.
Right. Next up, Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai: Heroes Bonds launches September 28th. Relive the legend of the Adventure of Dai. This is by Saruman for Gamatsu. Team action RPG Dragon Quest: The Adventure of Dai: Heroes Bonds will launch for iOS via App Store and Android via Google Play on September 28th worldwide. Publisher Square Enix and developer DNA announced. And there's an overview. We've talked about this game before. You control a team of 3 characters and battle endless hordes of enemies. You upgrade weapons and equipments and attacks. You can team up with friends. And that's it. I'm wondering where Infinity Strash is. You haven't heard about it in a hot minute.
I don't think we've heard about it at the Dragon Quest event, so...
We heard about it right after. They said, hey, we're still working on it. Okay, bye. Yeah,
so, Japanese game development is notoriously tight-lipped. Right. So you'll know more when you know more. Have you seen the anime?
I've watched a little bit of it on and off. It's interesting.
I've watched it.
It's not bad by any means.
It's fine. It's very much a Saturday morning show.
Right. I think that's why I'm kind of like, because I'm not like that invested in it. At all. It's fun, but like I'm not. I think I'd rather be playing a game of it because it's Dragon Quest. You know what I mean?
I get it. Next up, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sales passed 4 million in Japan. This is by Alyssa James for Silicon Era. According to the recently released Famitsu sales data, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe passed 4 million units in sales milestone in Japan. The figures cover from its launch back in 2017 until August 29th, 2021. The publication's hardware and software sales for the week of August 23rd, 2021 to August 29th, 2021 revealed that the title sold 14,838 copies that period. Shout out to Gamatsu and the video games charts. So I feel like it's becoming like a monthly thing where I cautiously say to people, don't expect Mario Kart 8 to stop selling and Mario Kart 9 to become a reality anytime soon. If possible, you'll see it maybe end of the Switch's life cycle and maybe the next gen Nintendo's console.
Because we usually only get one Mario Kart per system, right?
Usually, but
I don't think that's ever changed.
Yeah, so
the only weird part is that 8 went from Wii U to Switch, and I think that's the only Mario Kart they did like an enhanced port of, because everything else was like a virtual console re-release or something like that.
It's also because they probably want every mainline entry to be like very specific and special in that it introduces a gameplay element or is polished to such a degree that they're confident in calling it the next mainline entry, and they maybe just didn't have enough to justify a Mario Kart 9. Hence Mario Kart 8. It was also because, the Wii U notoriously did not sell well, so they are probably trying to salvage everything that was available on the Wii U, which is not a bad thing. It's just that, Mario Kart 9 probably won't be a reality anytime soon. I mean, which is fine. I still haven't played Mario Kart 8 Ultimate yet, so I'm kind of afraid because I'll probably be part of the problem by that point. But I digress.
Yeah.
Next up, Lost Judgment Kaito DLC arrives in 2022. This is by Jenny Latta for Silicon Era. Sega offered details on when people will be able to get all of the Lost Judgment add-ons. Many of the extras will be available not long after launch. However, one piece will take a bit longer to get. The Kaito Files Lost Judgment DLC won't appear until spring 2022. The first round of Lost Judgment DLC will involve the Detective Essentials pack. That will show up when the game launches. So if someone has early access, they will have it on September 21st, 2021. If they don't, it will appear on September 24th, 2021. That gives people extra Sega Master System games to play in Takayuki Yagami's office, extra detective dogs to take on missions, a new skate park to visit, a new skateboard, a sky spider drone, some extract recipes, a Super Shin Amon fight, and 3 more girlfriends. That kind of reads as very sad, but okay. The second round will involve the School Stories expansion pack on October 26, 2021. That primarily features some activities in the school. There will be a new robot to use, and you'll be able to get extra dance club moves and clothing. You'll also get a new race course to visit, as well as a new motorcycle and parts to use there. You'll also be able to box when you fight with Kaito, Higashi, and Sugiura, who are ready to spar. Finally, the spring 2022, the Kaito Files DLC will let people be Masaharu Kaito in Lost Judgment. This will be a 10-hour edition story starring him as he deals with an adventure. So, there you go. I am excited. Please give it to me now. Kaito is definitely one of my favorite characters from the series. He's such a himbo. You'll probably love him when you play as him.
I saw people being like, "Oh, this is a way they get around."
Listen,
the actor for the main, but I'm like, this was probably planned before that.
Yeah, I was about to say this. This was probably locked in a year before the news that Sega was having trouble with the talent agency. So it's like, don't go reading too much into this. Kaito is a very popular character, so it was probably a matter of time before any of the other characters in the game would be getting like DLC. Because up until now, none of the Yakuza games ever had story DLC, so this is a first.
Right.
And I feel like it's a safer bet to experiment with a side character rather than the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And the Yakuza games / Judgment games are rife with side characters that can justify their own DLC.
Right.
So, I mean, why not? I'm looking forward to this. And it comes out in 2022. I feel like, well, I spent about 40 hours playing the first game. So that will take you like a good month to clear. And I think by December you'll probably be done with the main game. And speaking of Lost Judgment, Lost Judgment demo now available for PS5 and PS4 in Japan. This is by Sal Romano Fukumatsu. Publisher Sega and developer Ryoga Gotoku Studio have released a demo for Lost Judgment for PS5 and PS4 in Japan, and it supports English, Japanese, Korean, simplified Chinese, and traditional Chinese language options. The demo features part of the game's story, which includes the new investigation and battle systems. Save data can be transferred to the full game when it launches. Speaking of the full game, that will launch on September 24th. I'm thinking this demo will release in Western territories probably next week.
Rather soon, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Because did the original Judgment have an English demo?
No. I don't think...
I felt like... No. The only RPG game that I can think of had a demo was Fist of the North Star.
Yeah, I was about to say none of the Yakuza games or Judgment had demos, so this is also a first. Yeah. Next up,
I could have sworn there was another one that did, but
I'm pretty sure none of them.
I don't think so either.
Next up, Babylon's Fall closed beta test phase 1 report. Phase 2 dated. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Publisher Square Enix and developer Platinum Games have published a closed beta test phase 1 report for Babylon's Fall, which addresses issues and user feedback from the first phase of the game's closed beta test. The companies also announced that phase 2 will be held on the following dates. For Japan, September 10th, 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Japan Standard Time. North America, September 11th, from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Time, and Europe on September 13th from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. BST? I don't know what BST stands for. Belgium Standard Time? Brussels Standard Time? Bavarian Standard Time? I don't know. I'm probably pissing off European listeners, but I digress. The following accompanying articles were also published. An overview, how to start the game on PS4, and the controls. That's a lot, so I'll say click on the article to give Gamatsu a read. It's kind of like an interview on how the test progressed. Might be some interesting stuff in there for you. All right.
Next up, and this was an interesting story earlier in the week. Game Boy and Game Boy Color games are reportedly coming to Nintendo Switch soon. This is from Game Informer, and it's by Liana Rupert. Game Boy and Game Boy Color games are reportedly coming to Nintendo Switch as part of the hybrid console's online library. New hardware, same great memories. In a recent report from the good folks over at Eurogamer, an inside source has confirmed to the site that this era of gaming is finally making it onto the Nintendo Switch online library. This report follows hot on the heels of a podcast earlier this week that claimed the same. When Game Informer reached out to our sources, we were simply told they were on the way, though no date was offered. There's no word yet from Nintendo as part of an official confirmation, but we haven't had a Nintendo showcase in a little bit, which means it wouldn't be that far-fetched to believe that a possible reveal could be on the horizon soon. Now, there might be a Nintendo Direct soon, but I don't know if that's gonna... And even if they do add Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, I'm scared it's gonna be kind of like the way their Super Nintendo offering has been, with kind of with some real good stuff, and then just kind of updating with a bunch of random games. See, and let me tell you, Game Boy and Game Boy Color library, they have a lot of random games.
See, the thing I'm hung up on is 1 week we're complaining about accessibility and games disappearing from history, and the other
and then the next we're complaining about which games are put on the services.
Yeah, it's like, pick a lane. We can't have our cake and eat it too. We can't be all like...
Sometimes it's weird when it's just first party titles specifically are missing. Like, you know, for Super Nintendo, Square Enix and Nintendo have a good relationship right now, seemingly. Super Mario RPG, not on there. Earthbound, not on there.
Well, we're not privy to what happens behind closed doors. We don't know if they are planning this.
But from a consumer perspective, it would seem that Nintendo and Square Enix at least have a decent relationship.
Yeah. But again, I can't predict what happens based off of that.
And like I don't expect the old Pokemon games to be on this service. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I'd love to be wrong about that, but I don't expect them.
See, the thing, it could be that they'd bring back like red and blue, or yellow even, but that kind of negates or would make it unnecessary to have the Let's Go games.
Right.
But the Let's Go games have like forward compatibility with Sword and Shield and the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Legend Arceus. So aside from nostalgia and preserving the legacy of that series, I don't know why you'd want to include it when you could just as well add other games.
You can add some other monster taming Game Boy games like Robopon or Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest Monsters actually does have a Switch port in Japan.
So yeah, that might be one of the possibilities. Yeah, there's like such a vast library of games that can see the light of day.
Yeah, it's just I don't know because Game Boy and Game Boy Color had a lot more licensed games. So
that is true. That is true.
I don't know, but you never know because weirder things have happened. I'm surprised like the PS3 had all those PS1 games that it did.
Yeah, so it could be that they will be showing this in the upcoming Direct because otherwise their fall/holiday.
What else do they have to show? Yeah,
it's kind of like known quantities that will be getting another spotlight. And that's not as exciting as Game Boy and Game Boy Color games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. But then again, you can never predict what Nintendo's going to be doing. They could totally mess this up and say, you know what, we're never doing an online game again, or add another online catalog for Nintendo Switch Online.
Well, no. Yeah, just forget it.
Yeah,
we're not doing online service anymore. We're shutting it down.
We're taking games off because you complained last time. Yeah. No, well, we'll see soon enough. I feel like we say that every week. Like, we'll see.
I mean, yeah, because we don't have official confirmation yet.
That's the only thing we can be sure of. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Because we will see.
Yeah.
One day.
Next up, former PlayStation CEO thinks video game industry is unsustainable. This is by Stephanie Liu for Silicon Era. A conversation with Shawn Layden, who was CEO for PlayStation until 2019, offered details about topics such as the video game industry's current and future path and Capcom's deep down. According to Layden, current practices within the video game industry are unsustainable due to higher budgets per game. Shout out to Bloomberg. And despite rumors of the real reason behind this departure, Layden stated that the launch of the PS5 was a good way to leave the company after feeling burned out. In regards to the current state of the video game industry, Layden said that with each generation of consoles, the budget for each game rises. PS4 titles were costing $100 million, and so he predicts that it will cost companies $200 million to make PS5 games. As a result of high budgets, companies will start to focus more on existing franchises with an established fan base, resulting in multiple sequels in series such as Call of Duty. And additionally, companies may also focus on genres that are making millions of dollars already. For example, the wide open combat of PUBG or Fortnite, which will then lead to an oversaturation of genre or series. Layden was part of the reason for why certain gamers expect bigger worlds and more polished graphics with each passing year due to his own involvement with games like Ghost of Tsushima. In regards to what happened to Deep Down, Layden stated, "I have no idea." Deep Down, announced in 2013, was supposed to be a single-player or cooperative dungeon crawler game that could be exclusive, or that would be exclusive on the PS4. Yoshinori Ono, who was a Capcom producer and in charge of Deep Down, left Capcom in 2020. Currently, the CEO of SIE Worldwide Studios after Shawn Layden is Jim Ryan. Katsuhiro Harada and Masahiro Sakurai have also discussed their thoughts on the video game industry on Harada's bar. Okay, that's kind of random to put in there, but okay. Regarding his departure from Sony, he gave a very diplomatic answer. So let's just leave it at that. And yeah, he's pretty much on the money. And we've already been seeing this happening in the last, I want to say 10 to 5 years or 5 to 10 years, with games becoming bigger and more cost averse, like more betting on known quantities and franchises people seem to love with a certain dedication, like Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and Halo, Fortnite, Call of Duty. Like we're getting maybe less original titles and more sequels because sequels are safer bets. It's more or less what you see in Hollywood with the superhero boom. It's because companies don't want to lose money, and if they know a certain formula will generate money, they will keep chasing that till it's run into the ground. So fingers crossed they don't run this into the ground. But are we?
Yeah. Do you think, like, because if there was another crash, I don't think it would be the same as, like, the 1983 crash.
I don't think we're heading to a crash, because that crash was more emblematic of oversaturation and the quality of games significantly dropping because they wanted to keep up the pace of release after release after release.
Right.
And also, if video games were in their infancy, there was only so much you could do with 8 bits or 16 bits.
Until 1985 and Mario.
More or less. So, do I think there will be another crash? Unlikely. Because the industry...
The industry definitely has to go through, like, a major restructuring moving forward in the next couple of years.
It's already happening. The conversations are already happening because burnout is a thing, turnover is a thing, attrition is a thing, people being...
And burnout is not paradise.
Yeah, and people, suffering under bad management, sexual abuse, whatnot. I feel like there will be like a labor crash before there will be like an industry crash, and that will probably be the defining moment for the gaming industry moving forward. But when that will happen, I am unsure. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, so we shall see. It's just interesting to see an actual, like, former CEO say something like that.
I don't think he's the first person to have said this.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's
just the latest. Not the first, just the latest.
Yeah, it just has an interesting take on it. Next up, Mega Man X Dive coming to PC in September in Southeast Asia. Currently available on iOS and Android. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Capcom Taiwan will release Mega Man X Dive for PC via Steam in September in Cambodia, Hong Kong, India, Indonesia, Macau, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Taiwan, and Thailand, the developer announced. It will support English, Japanese, Thai, and traditional Chinese language options. Mega Man X Dive is currently available for iOS via App Store and Android via Google Play. I am hoping that means we'll get a PC release in the US and North America at some point.
I'd say that's very likely. If you look at Bleach Brave Souls coming to PC and other mobile games coming to PC, it's probably likely.
Also, check out our friend Nadia Oxford's book on Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Maverick Hunter's Guide. Very good. If you like all the Mega Man X lore stuff. Next up, we have Moon coming to PS4 or PS5 and PS4. This is by Saruman for Gamatsu once again. Onion Games will release Moon for PS5 and PS4 according to a newly published PlayStation Store listing. A release date was not announced. Once again, I am glad I waited on this because now it's going to be on multiple platforms besides Switch.
Did you not want to play it on Switch?
I was going to play it on Switch if it was stuck there.
Okay.
But now I like having options. It's good.
Okay. Fair enough.
Next up, Sega is cracking down on hate speech in Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. I do not hear about this game a lot. I heard about it a little bit in the beginning, but apparently there's like after you finish some of the main story, there's not much to do, according to
also
a handful of players.
Final Fantasy 14 is sucking up all the oxygen in the MMO space.
Right.
So yeah.
Sega has issued, this is by Andrew Kia for Siliconera. Sega has issued a statement regarding hate speech and discrimination in Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, announcing that it has suspended or severely punished over 1,600 players from the game for engaging in discrimination and hateful behavior. Furthermore, the company will continue to monitor and punish players for misconduct, as well as look for ways to improve its process of combating toxicity. The statement comes just a few months after Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis' launch back in June. The game experienced a rocky start with unexpected maintenance and various bugs that prevented players from launching the game. Though New Genesis has reached 9 million registered users worldwide, some fans have been concerned about what they perceive to be a lack of playable content and an overfixation on cosmetic items. Recently, the game has seen an influx of players spreading hate speech and discriminatory messages through both public chat and symbol art. Additionally, players have criticized the game for its lack of safety tools, as well as the inability to disable pop-up messages. A series of sponsored streams last month, in particular, led to some of the streamers receiving unwanted direct messages featuring racial slurs and hateful content, as well as sexually explicit images. In response to this behavior, Sega has taken a stand against said misconduct, punishing over 1,600 accounts found to engage in discriminatory and hateful behavior. The company will continue to implement account suspensions and work towards improving how it combats toxicity. Though it did not specify what changes it will implement.
I saw someone mentioning on Twitter PSO to New Genesis is handling racism better than Twitter or any other social media platform is handling racism these days.
Well, that's good. Like, good on them. I mean, good on them for cracking down on it instead of just, ignoring it.
Yeah.
Or saying, oh, we have the safety tools, we just never told you where they were.
Yeah, if you look under settings, under this obscure option, flip it on, then you'll have what you're looking for. Next up, PS5 sales top 1 million in Japan. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Total sales for PS5 have surpassed 1 million units in Japan, according to Famitsu. As of September 5th, Sony Interactive Entertainment's next-generation console has sold 1,012,656 units in Japan. 847,421 units of the standard models, 165,235 units of the digital edition. Last week's sales were 15,580 and 1,495 units respectively. The PS5 launched on November 12th, 2020 in Japan and surpassed 1 million units 43 weeks after launch. Its highest-selling game at retail is Resident Evil Village, released May 8th, 2021, with over 67,000 copies sold. By comparison, PS4 launched in February 2014 in Japan and did not reach 1 billion units until January 2015, nearly a full year later. So, good business for PS5. That's all I can say. I think in total they've sold 8 million units, 9 million units. So 1 million is definitely not bad. Okay, next up, Eden Zero Pocket Galaxy for iOS, Android pre-registration now available. This is by Sao Romano for Gamatsu. Konami has opened pre-registration for Eden Zero Pocket Galaxy. It's September 2020th, announced top-down action RPG for iOS and Android. Additionally, the company announced TV commercial for the game set to air on September 11th and will be available for advanced viewing on the Eden Zero channel on YouTube today at 6 p.m. Japan Standard Time, which would mean yesterday, so it should be available now. In Eden Zero Pocket Galaxy, players make their way through dungeons while combining skills and equipment in pursuit of their ideal build. In addition to a story that faithfully reproduces many scenes from the manga, players can also enjoy original stories. There are also flashy action scenes when characters use their ether gear abilities. Plus, there are over 100 costumes, including original costumes by manga author Hiro Mashima.
Did you finish the season that was on Netflix?
Not yet. I think I'm on episode 7.
You're ahead of me. I only watched the first episode like a week or two ago. And I gotta say, that first episode, even though I didn't even know the characters that much, that by the end of that first episode, it got me in the feels, because, well, you know why. But
yeah, I know why.
Spoilers, but everybody should at least watch the first episode of Eden Zero. Try it out.
Remember how I said, I think last week, that there might be some, icky situations?
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's not great. That's like my biggest problem with it right now. That's about everything else is like, it's like, okay, you can do this. Why do you have to put that other stuff in? like
you
I said, know what I mean?
Like I said last week, the manga is geared towards teenage boys, and
yes, but that doesn't mean we should be.
No, I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying be aware of who this is targeted for or at.
Right.
Yeah, it's
I just wish we could just kind of move away from that kind of stuff.
That's gonna be a tall order, considering you'd have to redo the entire fan service scene in Japan, which or how
I feel like some things have gotten better with it over time at reducing it. At least
they are more aware of it because the Western audience isn't as receptive to it, so that's why. It's not like they've changed their minds.
Yeah.
It could be, it could not be, but in most cases it feels like they are just trying to sell to as much as people as possible, so they will adjust their output accordingly. But it's not them saying, fair criticism, we'll stop doing fan service.
That's not gonna. Yeah, that's not how that works.
If you follow Hiro Mashima, he's pretty big on fan service. And having read all of Fairy Tail and I want to say most of Eden Zero, you can still count on there being more fan service.
Right.
I can promise you that. So yeah.
Okay, so moving on. Square Enix announces Voice of Cards. The Isle Dragon Roars, tabletop RPG built of cards from Yoko Taro, featuring an enchanting story completely depicted by cards. Square Enix has announced Voice of Cards. This is by Sao Romano for Gamatsu. Square Enix has announced Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars, a new RPG featuring an enchanting story completely depicted by cards from the creative minds behind the Nier and Drakengard series, including creative director Yoko Taro. This new title will spark players' imagination and open their minds to a different way of storytelling as the narrative unfolds, Square Enix teased in a press release. According to Yoko Taro, Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars is not a Drakengard game, nor a social game. The game's staff includes Yoko Taro, creative director, executive producer Yosuke Saito, music director Keiichi Okabe, character designer Kimihiko Fujisaka. A lot of people who worked on Nier and Drakengard. Platforms and a release date were not announced, but the existence of Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roar first leaked in early August via PlayStation Network listing for PlayStation 4. Other platforms remain to be confirmed. And there's an update. A Steam DB page has also surfaced. Wait, so this is like a tabletop card game, but it's a video game?
I want to say this is like a video game. Like Hearthstone or Shadowverse and not a tabletop game.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Because it definitely feels like that. But, you know, Square Enix is also into physical card games with the Final Fantasy trading card game, so it could as well be them trying their hand.
This comment right here is going to be... Imagine Square Enix playing Pot of Greed, but it has Emil's face on it.
Basically. But, you know, he said no Drakengard connection, so don't count on it.
What does it do? Alright, next up is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania DLC Sega Legends Pack trailer. This is once again by Saruman for Gamatsu. Sega has released a trailer for Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania downloadable content Sega Legends Pack, which adds the classic Sega consoles Dreamcast, Saturn, and Game Gear to the game as playable characters. It is due out on October 5th for $4.99 or as part of the Digital Deluxe Edition. So, at first, when I read this, it said like, I read an article and it was like, Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania adds playable Dreamcast. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, so I can play Dreamcast games in Super Monkey Ball? I was like, no, you can play as the Dreamcast. Oh.
And you were so confused.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
That's cool, I guess.
It doesn't set your world on fire?
No.
Okay. Oh well. Okay. Next up we have Neo series shipments and digital sales top 6 million. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Total worldwide shipments and digital sales for the Neo series have surpassed 6 million units, publisher Koei Tecmo and developer Team Ninja announced. The new milestone comes less than 5 months after the series achieved 5 million units shipped. Additionally, the publisher has released PC versions of both Neo Complete Edition and Neo 2, the Complete Edition, via Epic Game Store today. The former will be free to download and to keep until September 16th, so you have about a week. Anyone who purchases or redeems Neo Complete Edition will receive the bonus Fujin helmet, while those who purchase the Neo 2 Complete Edition will receive the bonus Raijin helmet. Additionally, anyone who purchases Neo 2 Complete Edition before September 23rd will receive the bonus armor sets Sohayat Zerder Garb and Ornate Gold Armor. There you go. A free game. Go. What are you waiting for?
Yeah. Okay. So this episode has gone by pretty fast. I don't know. We've just been going. But so our main moving on to the main topic, which is just more news stories. But it's today's PlayStation Showcase.
Slow down.
So you know they announced some cool stuff that we're not going to talk about. You know, Spider-Man 2, Wolverine, God of War Ragnarok, you know. But we're not going to talk about those. I just wanted to briefly mention them because I thought they were kind of cool anyway. But we're going to start with Project Eve, which is not a Japanese game, but is a Korean developed game. Okay,
yeah.
Jason, go ahead.
I wanted to give a spotlight to this because, you know, Japanese games get most of the love when we talk about Asian developed titles, but Korean and Chinese games not so much. So there we go. Project Eve confirmed for PS5, and this is the gameplay trailer. This is written up by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Action game Project Eve will launch for PS5. Developer Shift Up announced. A release date was not revealed. You can click on article for the overview of the game and a trailer. It's very action heavy. Think, I want to say, Nier Automata / Bayonetta / DMC, and you have an idea of what I'm talking about. It looks very pretty. I'm not the biggest fan of the shiny suit Eve is wearing because it's kind of distracting and fan servicey. But otherwise, it's looking very cool. It features a bit of K-pop in the soundtrack, so that's always good. Flashy combat, very high octane action. It promises to be a very good time, and yeah, I'm eager to see more of this game. Did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, it looks really cool. Really cool character action game. Lots of that one part where she's like sliding in a tunnel was really cool.
Yeah, kind of looking like a Sonic mini game, if not anything else.
A lot of people were like, "Oh, this is giving me a Bayonetta or a Nier vibes." Like, come on, do we have to compare it to? I mean, yes, it's a character action game, but do we always have to? Compare it to that other stuff like that.
It's just a point of comparison. It's not saying it has to be Nier or Bayonetta.
I know. I just feel like people need to set their expectations. Like, don't expect it to be.
Oh, I'm definitely not saying it's going to be just as good or better than Nier or Bayonetta. It's just a point of reference, so you have an idea of what to look forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks really cool.
Definitely. I think this was revealed 2 months ago. Like Daniel Ahmad,
right? It was
tweeted about this. I think it was like, what kind of showcase was it? Like a 10-cent showcase or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't remember exactly.
Or maybe it was one of the PlayStation China one. No.
Yeah, that
maybe
could be it.
Yeah, maybe it was one of those. Next up, we have Ghostwire Tokyo launches in spring 2022. Hania trailer. This is by Saramano for Gamatsu. Ghostwire Tokyo will launch for PS5 and PC. I did not know that. In spring 2022, publisher Bethesda Softworks and developer Tango Gameworks announced. Wait, so would that mean it will probably come to Game Pass after whatever exclusivity?
As far as I know, only Deathloop was confirmed exclusive.
Right.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It could be that Ghostwire is a timed exclusive for PlayStation.
Okay, yeah. A new trailer introducing the menacing Hania was also released. Get the latest details via Bethesda Softworks. Hania has unleashed a catastrophic fog upon Tokyo that wipes out most of its population. In the aftermath, he leads the Faceless, a menacing group of loyal zealots who bend to his will. Where smiling citizens once walked, now stands an army of one-of-a-kind creatures only Tango Gameworks can create, the Visitors. Inspired by Japanese legends, folklore, and tales, the Visitors are striking, imaginative enemies that lurk throughout Tokyo. Many characters are from famed dark stories like Kuchisake Onna, characters that stay true to Tango's desire to honor Tokyo through an authentic, never-before-seen game world. Awakening in the famed Shibuya Crossing, Akito finds himself partially possessed by a strange spirit and surrounded by the dangerous creatures invading Tokyo. Desperate to ensure the safety of his sister, Akito must ally with the spirit and master powerful abilities to battle his way through Tokyo's dangerous streets. With the power and speed of the PlayStation 5 console, Tokyo is vividly brought to life thanks to the console's stunning ray tracing technology. As players walk its streets, reflections of gorgeous neon lights drip onto puddles that become glassy mirrors of the world's vibrancy and beauty. Ghostwire Tokyo also delivers faster loading times to keep players immersed, and haptic controls that allow players to tangibly feel their actions while traversing Tokyo streets and rooftops.
So, as far
this is
as
the first time we've really saw gameplay, I feel like.
Well, the first trailer had gameplay, or I should say...
just a little more of an extended look at gameplay, I guess.
I should say we weren't certain if that was gameplay or CG. But
right.
Yeah, so this one pretty much cements the style of game we'll be playing. And I think you're probably the most excited for this game out of the people I know. So what did you think of this?
Which is weird, because I'm not really a horror game person. But because it's like an action horror game, I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a straight horror. It's more like
I said, it's action horror.
No, I mean,
horror
not even
action.
horror. It has like ghosts and mythological or folklore creatures, but it's not on the spectrum of horror, I would say.
I would disagree with that. There's some scary stuff in there.
I mean, there are far scarier stuff out there.
Look, I'm sorry it's not Junji Ito, okay?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. But what did you think about it?
Looks cool. I'm very interested in it.
What is it about this game that speaks to you so much?
Just, again, like I said, it kind of reminds me of an Evil Dead Army of Darkness. I like when there are things with horror elements, but the characters fight back. So Ash versus Evil Dead, or I guess in some ways Alien and Aliens.
I mean, in that case,
that kind of thing.
The Resident Evil games would be right up your alley.
I don't like the controls for the Resident Evil games. I've never been that into the Resident Evil games in general, except for 5, and that was only because of the co-op.
Well, I mean, 7 and 8 are first-person shooters. If
7 and 8 are not my not really my
interesting.
thing. I like 5, and I like the Dark Side and Umbrella Chronicles.
You have a very eclectic taste, I'll tell you that.
How dare you say that to me?
It's a good thing. Next up, Forspoken launches in spring 2022. Story trailer featured. This is by Sal Romano for Gamatsu. Forspoken will launch for PS5, PC in spring 2022. Publisher Square Enix and developer Luminous Productions announced. A story trailer was also revealed. You can click on the article to have a full breakdown of the story and what you can expect, and also a trailer. Interesting. I mean, we talked about this a bit before we started recording, but it's a very interesting game in that the narrative is being handled by a group of Western artists, developers, writers, musicians, while the direction and gameplay production is being done by a Japanese studio, that being Luminous Productions. So I'm really curious to see how the communication went for this game. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm guessing translation wouldn't have been easy, especially with high concept ideas. So I'm really curious to see how this game came about. Also worth mentioning, the main protagonist Frey is played by Ella Balinski, if I'm not mistaken. I should look that up. Ella Balinska. And I wanted to highlight that because it's a person of color as a mainline character in a Japanese developed video game, which you do not see that very often.
It's a weird hybrid. It's a very hybrid video, like I said before the podcast, with who's writing it and then who's directing it. It's a very hybrid between Western developed and Japan.
Yeah, so
it'll be interesting to see.
You also have Cuff, a magical sentient bracelet voiced by Jonathan Cake, who currently is...
Jonathan Cake?
Yeah, Cake. You can currently see him as the Shade on the CW Stargirl. He is very menacing and very charming in that role, which is hard to believe when you're talking about a... I won't say anti-hero. I haven't caught up to the last episode yet, but I'll call him a semi-villain. Also of note, Janina Gavankar, who plays Tanta Sila. And
okay, so it is confirmed. That was confirmed?
Yeah, that was confirmed, and she confirmed it herself on Twitter.
Because I thought she was just reacting to it on Twitter.
No.
Because she was reacting to the whole thing.
She said she'd be featured in 2 games.
Right.
I think this one, and if I'm not mistaken, was it Knights of the Old Republic?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Wait, let me see. What was that? Okay. What was she? I think she's in the Knights of the Old Republic. I am part of 2 games that were shown today. What was the other one? She's reprising a character from Horizon Zero Dawn in Forbidden West. Is that it? Okay, maybe, sure. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, you also have Keala Settle, who featured in The Greatest Showman. She had one of the showstopper songs in that movie. Happy to see her there. Monica Barbaro also makes an appearance as Johedi and Odin. Like Keala Settle and Monica play Johedi and Odin respectively. And the story was conceptualized by Gary Whitta of Rogue One and the Book of Eli's fame, Amy Hennig, before she moved on to Skydance New Media. And the current lead writers for the story and script are Alison Reimer of Shadowhunters fame and Todd Stashwick, who worked on The Devil Inside. So this is like, a very, very A-team of talent writing on this game. And the music is done by Bear McCreary of God of War 2018 and The Walking Dead, Battlestar Galactica, if I'm not mistaken, and Outlander, one of my favorites, and Gary Scheinman, who did the Bioshock series. So, it's all in all very cool. And the game looks really good. Very interesting world design. The physics and graphics are very top notch because Luminous Productions. Yeah. If you've played Final Fantasy 15, you can probably guess as to how the game will look like. So all in all, great. And last, maybe least, because we're not sim racing fans all that much. And I feel like no one on our Twitter timelines were the biggest sim racing fans. But Gran Turismo 7 launches on March 4th, 2022.
I always forget that's a Japan-developed game.
Yeah, Polyphony Digital.
Always forget.
GT7 will launch for PS5 and PS4 on March 4th, 2022. Publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment and developer Polyphony Digital announced. You can click on the article for a breakdown of the features and a trailer of the game. And might I add, the level of detail is ridiculous. And if you see the real-time reflections made capable by ray tracing, mind-blowing. It's like,
but is it as good as
Forza?
Yeah.
Well, look,
new Forza.
I think you could compare Gran Turismo with Forza Motorsport. Forza Horizon is more arcadey.
Yeah. I feel like car games always look really good.
Not always. I'd say the best.
At least in the last couple years.
The best looking. Well, you have 3 types of games that are always showcases for graphics. Those are first-person shooters, racing games, and sports games, because they could closely adhere to the reality we know. So that's kind of the benchmark for how well something can look. And racing is pretty much one of the most visual heavy genres out there. And you have like a lot of existing media to rely on, so that you can build a virtual replica of a car, and you can always refer to that when you're working on the level of detail, and it's really cool to see. I'm on and off playing Forza Horizon 4, and it looks amazing, and it's a joy to play. And GT7 is more on the realistic side of thing, it being a sim racer. So if you're into that, this might be up your alley. But if you just want to mess around with the newest Nissan Skyline or Toyota Supra, go right ahead. It might be for you. But yeah, that's all of the Japan/Asian games they showcased this week on the PlayStation Showcase. Thoughts? Were you expecting anything else? Anything missing in your opinion?
I mean, Final Fantasy 16, but
Yoshi.
I'm not like, oh my god, I can't believe Final Fantasy 16 wasn't there. I was like, well, that wasn't there. Okay.
I wasn't it last month that Yoshi P said, we're working on it. We have nothing to show yet, but we're working on it.
I thought he said don't expect to see us at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, he said don't expect us to see us at Tokyo Game Show. If anything, he wanted to show it at Tokyo Game Show, but it probably wouldn't be ready yet. They're working on it, and I have full confidence in that they'll pull it off. I mean, for me, these last few years, I've not really wanted to expect anything. I just go with an open mind, like, oh, surprise me with the showcase or the indie direct or whatever. I'm not gonna go in hedging my bets on, say, Final Fantasy 16 or what else is a game I really, really want to see. That's a good question. Not Knights of the Old Republic. That's what we like. Jedi Fallen Order 2 or something like that. Like, yeah, I'm pretty much okay with what we got. I'm happy. I'm really happy. Will we see another showcase by this year's end, or do you think this is it?
See what?
Another showcase.
I mean, not to show anything
as big as today.
Yeah. Unless I could see something happening in maybe December, around the time PSX would have been, but to go with the Game Awards possibly, but then they could do that. Put that stuff in the Game Awards.
That is true. Like maybe a deep dive in one of the games they announced today.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because it feels like such a substantial reveal already, and you probably don't need anything else for the remainder of the year. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, I mean that was it for this week, I guess. We have a neat 1 hour 30 minutes. It feels like. Happy to have that.
20 something.
Yeah, I mean, we could always stretch it out by vamping, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. It's been a fun week. We hope to see you next time with some very special guests. I think starting next week, it'll feel like a celebration of Tales of Arise.
You're right.
Yeah, so look forward to that. Some special guests coming. Some who would be returning, and some who will be featuring for the first time. So, do we want to say who, or do you want to keep it a secret?
Oh, keep it a secret, just in case anything changes.
Okay, that's smart. That's smart. Okay, thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. This has been Erroll. This has been Jason. We'll see you next week. Stay safe.
Hey, wash your hands. Please get vaccinated if you're able. Take a shower.
Wash your butt. Wash your legs. Put deodorant. Brush your teeth with toothpaste. Use mouthwash.
No, is there a new thing?
No, I'm just being preemptive.
Okay. It's good to use. Specifically, it's apparently better to use non-alcoholic mouthwash.
Is that so?
Yeah, what I've read, because it the stronger mouthwash can
erode
mess up your microbiome in your mouth or whatever.
Oh.
Because of how how it kind of kills all the bacteria.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I was using the mouthwash with alcohol in it for years. And it's I get you like the clean feeling, but it might be better to use the non-alcoholic kind.
I mean,
I'm not here to dictate what people do, but
if you have questions, refer to your dentist.
Yeah, I'm not a dentist.
We did not go to dental school, so don't rely on us.
I do prefer non-alcoholic mouthwash now.
Okay. I mean, I personally don't mind all that much, but I'll definitely ask my dentist the next time. Yeah. Play video games. Be kind to each other. Read a book. Touch some grass. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Matinee.